Okay, so we'll start with the altruistic motivation. So everybody can, I think, see the text, and we'll recite it in English one time. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly I will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. The Action Bodhicitta Prayer. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Taking the Bodhisattva vow. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. The short refuge prayer. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki cho nam la, shangju bardu dagni kapsu chi, dagi jinso pe so namgi, Drola penshir sangye drupa sho. The four immeasurables. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Manam kadam yam pesam centam she dewadang dewe gurdang dempa jorchi dagnal dang danal gi gudang drawar jorchi dagnal me pe dewadang midrawar jorchi Nay ring chak dang ni dang dra wei tang namla ne pa jor chi. And then we'll recite the 100-syllable purification mantra of Vajrasattva. We'll recite it one time in English, and then we'll recite it in the Sanskrit. Om Vajrasattva Samaya. Help to protect my vow to purify myself. May you remain firm with me. Grant me the complete satisfaction. Grow with me. Be loving towards me. Grant me the attainments to master the powers beyond body and nature. Show me all the deeds of body, speech, and mind. Make my mind heart good, virtuous, and auspicious. Revel in the bliss of the four joys, O Blessed One, who embodies the essence within me. Do not abandon me. Grant me the realization of the indestructible nature. Make me one with you. Thus I signify my unity with non-duality. Ah. Om Bodhisattva Samaya Manupalaya Bodhisattva Tanopa Drista Dredo Me Bawa Suto Kayo Me Bawa Supo Kayo Me Bawa Anuraktu Me Bawa Sara Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sara Karma Sitsa Me Sitsan Shriya Kuru Hung Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sara Tada Gata Bajra Mame Mansa Bajri Bawa Mahasamaya Satwaha. Thank you all very much. So now, thanks everybody for joining us. Thank everybody for joining us on YouTube. And if anybody has any comments or questions that you'd like to send to us, you can send it to our email at buddhapracticestudy@gmail.com. And we'll be glad to share whatever message you send to us. Any questions for Geshe will be gladly received. So thank you all. Does anybody have any questions or comments about anything that we've talked about so far before we continue? Okay. Well, you know that if anybody needs to say something, just either raise your hand or you can turn your microphone on and begin to speak, kind of interrupt us. But if you can save it for a time that is particularly good, that would be best. So we're going to begin tonight with Kunga is going to give us his response to Geshe-la's request to try and understand the motivation of our participants, to the people that come and join us on our Monday night Buddha Practice Study Group. So tonight is Kunga's turn. So if he will give us his motivation, and then Yangshin has a copy of that, and she will be able to translate for Geshe-la. So Kunga, when you're ready, please.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just going to read the item I sent you. So I contacted Pema Dorje about attending the Monday Night Buddhist Practice Study Group back in November 2023, so it's a while ago, after finding some of their old recordings on YouTube. I was looking for a regular group that would help me deepen my understanding of Tibetan Buddhism. My background is in Shambhala Buddhism that was founded by Chogyam Trungpa and also in Zen. So I'm currently a senior teaching monk at the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple. I was ordained last year by my teacher who was trained at the temple. And they have a Buddhist program that includes elements of Zen and Tibetan Buddhism there. The temple was founded 12 years ago by a Korean Zen teacher, but became independent and had a teaching council made up of American Zen and Tibetan teachers. I've enjoyed studying the Joy Ornament Liberation, the Play in Full with Pema Dorje, and also incorporate different Tibetan meditation practices into my daily practice. I come to this group because it offers me a chance to deepen and broaden my perspectives on Buddhist philosophy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yangshin?
Thank you. Geshe-la ta thanda khara kungala khora ani lansla da di group di la nyamshu chedang ro di khandres sin dewa ro di chasla na nyema ani nyedong ni sa son lo gi chinda chu ji sto la ani YouTube nang lo la ande chini disning ba ro ande ya khunza ji recording ande dende ro thong ani digital khara lansla la khaptu dewa che ani khachana na dewa di khandres sin na ko pat khora ngang chu ji chokba ro ji nyam do che ani Twitter do la ni da ama 장준 che do shara wanted or sha ani kora di ni kara kora kandido ni la nani nangshu di shambala ni ma gyu tha sha gyu az nangshu di ne che ni wondi ani sugi unzu uzu re la nani chögyam chungba la jik da ni thondo zen la nang zu di la itu kara gomju ga ji ende chelu shedang do ji du ani nyehong ne ende shin chu tar gyo do sha ani tandada kara kare nangba aji gomba jikdu Grand Rape Petsladi. Wanti kajla ani kura ta kare lamye dorisha. Ani kura gi nga rangzuta domba len laure ta kanda nangchwe la lapa lopa dila tsu jugya do di khadu ni gochu dila na kare kura aji gela jikdamni ani wala di logic khonla ya andi chisha. Gigin digi ani tsu shagyo di aji zen gaji gomba di ani lo chunyi khonla ya ani kare Korea aji zen gigin chigi ani unie an digital ta thanda di bat di rein las kare rawang gaji chopa doji tsu cha charis. Ani lens la nyamdula ani kora ngema chudur dangche kare kola yagu jangyu lana ani kara tabu thagen lani gambo bagi tsam shagyo gaji 원디 강라야 아니 장유유스 아니 원디 토라야 차장로 언제로치니 아두뉴유다 간다 코라 아니 디 촉바디라 술레가지 겸전디 카리일나 아니 수수기 싱샤교지교라 낭추기 따둑지교라 원디라 파 띵사르다 아니 슈체르까지 땅에가지 쳇들라 아니 디나 주인슬레 원디리시
Does Geshe-la have any questions or comments?
Oh, thank you, Ganganima. Very interesting. 제가 코난바 쪽 다보타지 장기여 송도 제 넘버 쪽에 디 다보타지 고니 슈퍼도 차산 도스제네 로전 체니 요에스 근간지마라 디지털
Gunganimala Geshe-la is asking regarding the jewel ornament of liberation, which you had stated that you had learned the practice along with Lensla and everything, right? The play. So he's asking, did you guys had completed the entire play?
We did. We read the entire play in full. It took a year.
Logic Gorson's 차장로 디체샤.
함사.
That's really great.
Really great. 가르쳐나 땅원에 전에 제 넘버 쪽에 남출 딩글 로종 치기 요레스 아니 배드파 땅원에 전에 가르쳐 그래 샘칸라 배드파 가르쳐 그래 수솔라 되니 될래 되니래 바나시 전두 제제네 다 전도파 추조초 아니 배드파 망신도 어디 그 나노파 딩만하는 주차하스 배제수 이란 시위였어.
Geshe stated that you guys really have the depth understanding of the Buddhist philosophy. You guys understands everything, and your practice are also really great. He really appreciated the way you guys had completed the play in full and your knowledges, and then your this practice and everything. Yeah, that's really great.
나시당에만이 라뉴여스 추조 렌스 페마 도제란 제바데 소소고 소테인 상고였다. 다가 난시 초조 참마 안데 제네 나랑서 냠던 제 안데 드링 체 에너지 답por 타진 콜 안데 지 로종 제뉴에세 페찬데 고인데 참마는 거네 나라이나 소테인 상고도스.
And then I'm really grateful that I met Lensla, my brother, Dharma brother Lensla, a few years ago, and which also applies to all of you, like how we are having this discussion now. And then being a part of this group, I really appreciate your practices and your understandings and everything. I'm being feeling honored to be part of this.
딘냠들 나랑서 파수 드니스해 줘라. 띠군에 타네게 미기 나로로 셈바고 고도 빼야 돼. 나이네 천안서 짠에 로제 망불래라고도 스테 고거 뺀 주기였어. 가딘체스.
Also, since we consider this group as a discussion group, where like everybody can learn from one another. And I'm really learning a lot from you guys as well. I also seek a lot of opportunities to learn something new from you guys. So I really appreciate that.
Chwa re la ngai chonso la tanda len jagar ma to ngarang je le yanjo chen to chwa de tan dewi ke sanu mangbo ta ra du sanu mangbo tang gu ke gu du.
With each topics and questions you guys raise up, I tend to answer it during one time, like when we are having the discussion. But after that, and then it really keeps there in my mind, and I tend to like think more about it and focus more on it. So that's really helpful for my practice as well.
E chik ngan so ngane thane cha chen kaya maybe ke thone dwelling ende chen ngarang so chi hen jambo chik chi le hasananda ke pha so chi lo che te ya gen so de khuyu de chechung kan de ji email ma te bi khuyu chi po hyu chog du kan da.
Such discussion with pure intentions, despite the group being a small one or like in such a like small environment, I really feel like happy and then like great when we are having this meeting.
Ya ta ga to chen.
Yep, that would be all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Geshe-la. Thank you. And I want to add, we may be a small group that's present right now on the Zoom, but the YouTube has been very active. And this last session, over 1,000 people watched the video. And many of the people are from India. Many people know Geshe-la very much at Sarajay Monastery and other places in India. So it's not just us. We're a humble small group, but there's many other people, monastics included, who are receiving the teachings from Geshe. So thank you, Tukse Geshe-la. Thank you very much for everything that you do. We're very honored for you to be here. Thank you.
아니 ngansul에 기슬라딜라 페 and 투두나이 디에 페 디 자청부 설계스 아니 ngansu chokpa di da tis chinji ro che tindro ine YouTube nanglo ya tani pe shukchang budu mixe gyaga cholia che ani thondo peche gislagi khandela da ngoshin ba do che thazang sera che do ani insares inaya da kanda gwende khala re ani thondo nyendi ni mi shemba yore chasang lo ya cheshe do je cha do dus ani pe mis thujina
Re de tanda ti ji do a chesra ba. Ngarang zo che zang sanu ko to pere se se ya de menga tu na lo la sanu pe me si ko to pere se ya de ndu sarwa de ngai na di pe me si choche dumba ne go ba choche ni de khande ro yin ha ma go ya de ji tung tung na jobon jobon zon ro ye de de ke na wa khora le ge dos ane ke che shwe de chen namba chu ko to na te ya da zwa te ya da de ke cha ne le ge dos ane re ngan so ta tanda di 시다 유튜브 디 가와 코 채널 저 간드 난거야나 다가라 ndigiduus ane YouTube nalo la ngara so tangi tende tisi yo insares ta khona ba cho ke khashela chi lo la baba yungu ya sares khashel lo la ma baba yungu ya sares ta kanda nganso di lojong ko ko ji res nganso di chama di jang yo res tende yimba son cha ane yungu ya na ne jesu yaran ta yapo yungu ya na ne chama la phendo na tis yungu ya ban de ne yapo res ane kesi yang chi lo la ma baba tende yungu ya na ne yang nganso mi phebare tende yimba son cha hetan letan no tende chungu ya na ne gonda hyogres shugi hinsam.
Gishi's saying that as long as we have this discussion, even if it's like just 6 people sharing their minds and thoughts together, the 2 hours which we share during this session, it really feels so short. And also the questions and then the knowledges you guys share over is truly great. And regarding the YouTube viewers, I appreciate and hopefully like it's helpful to everyone who's viewing the contents and then I also apologize in case if I am not meeting up to your satisfactions and everything because it's like there are many viewers right from all points of view so yeah I would like to apologize before as well.
간다 마다 장가랑 저 계주 이나래 수송은 이나래 지디 로중다 냠도 디치기여스 안에 지 가르세 그러고 소소기지 제구연다고 진든데지 제나 따다 소소기지 디 고가 야보지레 샤산이 디치기여스 강투 주둔다 디치기여스
Whether it's the translator or I myself, we are all learning along with the session, and we are trying our best.
만나와 요네 군다 그래스
Yeah, and we would like to apologize if there is any certain point of view which seems wrong from your end.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No need to apologize. Your comments and teachings are wonderful. Thank you. And I hope that Geshe has been able to benefit from the summaries that we've been sending out. You know, they're in English, and I know he can read English even better than he can speak it. And whether or not that's helpful to him and to everybody else to have that review of the meetings that we're having here in that summarized form. So it doesn't take 2 hours to read it. It only takes maybe 20 minutes or something like that because it's a summary. It's condensed by by Gemini, or rather Nota is the artificial intelligence that we use to process the teachings and so on. And I'm finding it to be very, very accurate and very, very good. So I hope that Geshe is able to benefit from that as well.
아니 런주기 탄다 가래 이메일 나올로 직당 리더 안데 슈구로디 아니 슈구디라 기슬라라 디스핑기여여스 카진라 디슈구디 패트런스 추스니 셰샤교디 아주 도르디 엔드로디 인디 기시디간라 인지 로싱고라스 안 원디시니 야마칸다만다 펜 토베라여스
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now we'll continue with the 37 Bodhisattva practices. So I'm going to screen share this. Just a moment. I've got to get the correct thing up here. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to add, last time we started off with the homage to Lokeshwara, so I recited that. I'm going to ask Bernie this evening if he will recite this. If you can see it on your screen, Bernie, or if it's a problem, let me know. But just these two paragraphs to recite the homage, please.
Okay. Homage to Lokeshvara. I pay constant homage through my 3 doors to my supreme teacher and protector Chenrezig. While seeing all phenomena lack coming and going, makes single-minded effort for the good of living beings. Perfect Buddhas, source of all well-being and happiness, arise from accomplishing the excellent teachings, and this depends on knowing the practices. So I will explain the practice of Bodhisattvas.
Very good, thank you. And you can see that we have several different translations, English translations, but the essence of each of these homage and each of the practices is intact and is all very good. So last week we spoke about verse number 1, and today we're going to begin to speak with verse number 2. So I'm going to read this in English at this time. It says, "The mind of attachment to loved ones wavers like water. The mind of hatred of enemies burns like fire. The mind of ignorance, which forgets what to adopt and what to discard, is greatly obscured. Abandoning one's fatherland is the Bodhisattva's practice." So Geshe, do we need to translate that for Geshe?
아니 먼저 가싱님마들이야 당봉에랑 먼저 최주지겨라 온디 아니 마겨서 가시나 콘솔라 닝고시 컨들라다 디디야치 안디 젤 먼저 가싱 둔다들이야 당보디 스타리 안 단다 니바디 인지토디 아니 마겨서스 더 니바디니 고츠나
맞습니다. Thank you. 단다 디주여와 만소 고리에 나랑서 brother lens ge jamru senje den dwan sarwa ta ting anso yigya chegurda yigya chegurse de danchu pado dan jobson che son sarwa nganso tangje ge kompa mato ko pado nganso kuncho son la jobson rogi yins ta te imba son sa ngaran chu ge gewa ka sa yo pate ane rola phesha sanjin ruba hyosun rowa na la ngaran chipo khochipo tende mayin bache samal phya ge che do ngan so samje go gompa den ruwa hyolan tanga so ge gone senje de chamro da senje de che chawa yimba sonza ngan so kadde yin an gol su so ge majambe ngwe de la miyu de ngan so ta thatu ge dewa samje go gompa thoya ti che do tanga so de ma bari den ruya samsa te tambo de ma shi de tengo grace.
Mhm. When before starting our session, we recited the dedication, the prayers, right? Where we were praying to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all living beings. So we should always remember our aim or focus, like where we are heading.
Ta te imba sonza nganzo ge kaan tangbo tena lo karison yorosena tenjo ge muli rumbo che tsa chimbo di suso lo tok nye kawa de suso lo nye de kayo tenda we tok kaya da nye kawa de nye du tsamba ne da da yen tsama kowa le drawi shodo kowi janso le drawi shodo ninda tsenda tape tende yawa mepa chene katu yina pa duso digi chedola ane nyemba semba sedu tsamana sanlo tamba ane tene gomba sedu tosan gonson de chigi yin sene ta tsik dodo tenro tsare es ro chanjo tenalo.
Mhm. Now to continue, we have completed the first verse, which talks about the fortunate human life, and then in order to free oneself and others from the ocean of samsara, which would be the cyclic existence, we need to work hard, like tirelessly, both day and night. And then in order to study, reflect, and meditate. That is the first verse, which is the practice of all the bodhisattvas.
Ta nyensen gomba de jase shanchu samba lane ama titi ti yimba yina ta nyensen gomba de kande chegure se laundi tsamba ne ana tambo onda do maso na pango chungen ro chi yimba yina thesa gongso chengi mechi yimba yina ana nyenju shola ndocha chota yo dayu shola hedam metam bar lamdo jebe tumu mena che phayu pon jase lale yin si du tsamba ne ta soso meda maso na rotan dutan rotan detan chetan yenche ne ane sabsaji che goya chi songyo resta.
In order to liberate oneself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence, we need to ceaselessly, like hearing, and then hearing, which refers to study, and then pondering, reflect, and meditating day and night. So, in order to do this thing, we should be able to like mind our attachment. So that's how we should begin.
Ta tende chedi zaman ti kar songo do sena khande chi ngaran so thesang gonsum te sanji ko gomba thoya ge che do thesang gonsum jenge ge meji yimba ina 단조 그 물리름 버치 짜 첨버데 든데 간라 배주 땅에 매지 임바 이나 다 간레지 제고레스 간레지 제고레스도 잠바네 아니 쇼린더버데 아니 수속 녀다 가보 녀버도 솔라 파 녀바나시 차된조 든데 마임바 아니 양 셈지 랭가치라 티티스 문리위 존센도 셰네 아니 페데 잔다치 신체네 페데 파 헤팅네 파 나치네 파 가르세로 파 멤버 된조라고 든데 마임바 다 든데 인딩이 두서도 파 빵자레스 레스 데 인데 잠바네 아니 데 나이게 람자 가리 도자 가리 촌 하 먹어 와치 페 드무그 페데 나코나노 취된조 든데 마임바 다 든데 인 데사게 사당 고유당 대소 당한서 담보 빵고사데 담보데 데레데레스.
And then in order to liberate oneself, what needs to be done is to practice of no bias, like where there is no attachment, just like how our attachment to our towards our family and friends, and then our hate towards our enemies, which ranges inside us like a fire. And then in the darkness of confusion, you tend to forget like what must be adopted or abandoned. So it is very important to leave one's homeland or the fatherland, and this is very important practice.
Pena ngaranzo chenamba zo tsama de tangwene thane tandaki soso ke sawe he tsamba ji le yu ane ngaranzo ke ji shuri da dende ke hu chenpo hewe me den jo ke soso ke semba do mada ma so no khonyombo da ji yu chene lojo nan de jang jang ji res.
And I believe you all are in a great homeland with no bias, a calm mind, and then focusing on the practicing.
단디 빼면서 개첨부 희부지 인사를 생각하면서 튼지 담보 네 연구하대. 대 명바제 지 년저버지 지제 지 수소게 베게 년저버지 간라 빼든 다차데 추나기지 파 요데 저 파차데 저 수소게 셈바 덴데버지를 차체네 덴디 추첨부 차송바이나 되게 체도 내가 전로도 되게 체도 내가 전로도 잠만에 내가데 편체 하는 거란서 타투게 대화 토야라 가지마도 대 튠지 차고여서 말이스.
And then this is a must and very important to start our practice. So if there is an attachment towards your family and friends, which overwhelms us like a torrent, like a fast moving stream of water, then that would lead to, with that thought, it might lead to certain actions. And then these actions might would stop you in your practice for the liberation.
다 년주 쇼란 대차 쳤다 요 징이게 대차 쳤다 요니 지소 나노라 내가 징에 된 감소 공원에 간다버지 통고도 세바 인테나 시당 제바이나 맹칸 생에 대 미게 원에 전에 세소 종이 미게 류기 동에 때 팔 세월 징이 든지고 뭘 레스 맹칸데 담보 주디 무유야 다가라레스 맨세야디게 ngode 다가라레스 다 이나야 드릭하상지게 쉬운 거 차네 맹칸 망보지게 네 맨드라만다 쇠야 소소게 벤조게 야진 로야게 체돌 맨드라만다 쇠 아네 지 미게 수보단 최소도서 아네 라제제산다고 아네 양괴 하파르티엔도 맹칸 카시 나노라지 下决当没过呢呀，下决当过个都现在，等于下决当的老说比你村着我当，那门看看些闹了，你就学你的了茶呀个切都免学个了些种的，但等这个你出国用的账本呢，那我呢常那个那个都是长嘛的，当然说，他图个地基是哪的，那个地基是哪的，都说长嘛的，当我呢常那怕卡是个人。ke yena mena da ta dawo sena leka chetan to so sama te ta da dawo ji cha de dus.
And then if we have that attachment which overwhelm us like a torrent, the action which people act would be like how a hospital is meant for saving life and heal people, right? But these days, there are certain cases like where hospitals focuses more on the financial and human lives are usually considered as a tool of trade, where certain sometimes they would operate even if there is no like surgeries required, but then the doctor advises and stuff like that. So these are really like bad actions or bad deeds.
I have a question, if you don't mind, please. And that is the choice of words to speak about the fatherland as opposed to the motherland. And the way I would think about it, for just to get the thought out, is that the fatherland is all these activities, all these myriad activities in which we engage, all these confusions, all the wrong world views and so on, could be characterized as the fatherland. The motherland implies the wisdom part, the motherland, that we all come from the mother. And from that wisdom, we go out and we do these activities that are characterized as the father activities. But they can be confused. They can be twisted and turned and so on. But the pure mother essence remains pure. And so is that, I'd like to ask Geshe what he thinks about that statement, that thought.
단다 디낭로리아 아니 딜레이다 카레 파유 봉와 레이다 파유 레니 칙디 페주당그다 아니 파율은 땅도 잠바 피지행 알아서다 단다 자주 연바도 쉬어라 디 셰당다 디게 디 강라 돈이니 자주 벨디아 디게 딜 파유디지 마유디니 알아서 상마다 아마니 마 중도 잠바 찬주 셈바도 당 카리네 빼강자 암랄 샤이도 아니 마유기 응니다 지 자주로 나야도 강자 당 알아서 셰랍도 롱무싱 아마초가지 마유라이딜라 아니 원도치니 단다 다 파유디기 아니 kare joba ngemba ta cha kare kanda duwa ri jiora wondi ge samang ngwezi ni wondi chini ni payu pom lani tengo res chi en chana digres
네. 단다 간소 디기 깨자 디가 아마다 아바다 아마니를 예라 쳐반다고 근데 자원이는 말이스 쇼지는 알아서 산지기 최나로라 예라 세야데 하나 책 말이스 가르세나 참마 따우다 용이 소 용이 초라 용이 차상 대원도 받아 등에 문도 받 진송 대워 루비 토탄다 등에 도에 토탄 봐 진송도 제원데 담반에 근데 제원데 예라 세야데 자원이네 요 말이스
okay. Over here, the fatherland and motherland, if we differentiate, this is more like as if the practice, what do we say, the literature, it's showing like a bias, right? Differentiating between the father and mother. But in the Buddhist scriptures, there is no such differentiating or biasing regarding the father and mother. They focuses more on like all the living beings, even if it's a small insects, are considered to be like seeking for the happiness, right? And then everybody has that right to seek for happiness as well. So this one, like the fatherland and motherland, it's not differentiating anything.
아니 아주 시초나노 여러 당감선 지대 최용 그 차니 깨자 시에단다고 돼 마서나 미세다 마서나 수속 파유지 여러 수속 칭세와 여러 다티 자체셔도 차고 여러서 매 차상을 시단 잠불인데 가는 매 폐체와 다 파유세난다 칭세난다 네기 체도라 다 예체 매체의 지거래서 정막이 네기 체도라 빼드 가시고 소인체 려당치니 근데 용이여래서 가시긴 네기 체도라 마인체 정해 가시긴 네기 체도라 딱고 잡아져 강주마주 차상 정해대 파유세한디 소속이 칭상세한디 네기 체도 지거래서 다 가시 지는 거네 다는 네기 체도라 튼다 루다 튼바 세대제는 롱에 지거래서
In the society, when we talk about our fatherland, it's mostly considered like our home. The fatherland is also refers to your homeland, which is very important to all the social animals, right? Because when we go out, we'll be like, I'm from this, that, like how the fatherland is being considered very important. And then because of this importance, which we all consider, people tend to act many how wars occur in like between countries, and then many other crises are all also due to this thing, considering like the importance of fatherland or like your home.
제가 근데 이원데 가서 도딘이 히나 파유 세난다 마유 세난다 수속의 칭상 세난다 대소 민다 당지레마도 단다 집발 통고도 어서와 단 디기 도도 디기 가르송 거르서나 대차다 해당 제일 로체네 수소 파유다 칭상다 디기 체도라 답베디 수민게 랑자다 도자 제볼로체네 템버 제체네 랑자다 도자 뇌 마싱위 토네 아니 레가 퉁다 루다 민툼베 레가 또 소데 자와니네 마제스 다 대초 파 빵고레스 라고요레스 마또 파유유쇼 칭유효라 데 게자디지 부인사 마레스
Yeah, which is why basically the term like fatherland, motherland, or your homeland, it's just like a certain specific term. But by going after the attachment and those negative emotions, which is covering us, like blurring us, that's how like we tend to forget what to adopt and what to discard. So, which is why we should know what to adopt and what to discard. It's not telling us to leave your homeland like physically, but it's telling us like how to not go after the attachment or that emotion, like right, to control yourself.
ngege nawala yorwa ngege nawala ti tengi yola nganso sanji gi chönano la karuson yoresena jamchu gu sen chenge tela shanchu gu semde soda sug jule chegre so sonde tamanen ro ri tuga gi jule shanchu gu sen chegre son yores te tsam ma che tando ngaran so megi luite se ande luite chebar ti imba son sa megi luite traba inan digre ani inan digre macha phomo inan digre pugni son yenge inan digre pugni son menge inan digre o tende gi jula shanchu ge sen chegre sen son ya yores te shanchu ge sen de chewala ngel kar gore sen me de sankhang khwe nyombo ndawo ane chi dacha tange son de te na yi chene pe de nge ge cho da nge ge gasa da sen dacha chuna yi yo 대기 체도라 드라세네 방윈지 제제네 센지기 짬에 땅딩이 근데 마임바지 근데게 샤왈라 문중이지 근데게 방 람자다 도르자데 마노니지 근데 뭐지 구고요 리스케 체크데
This is my opinion, as well as even in the Buddhist scriptures, they have mentioned that bodhicitta can be gained or can be attained by all the living sentient beings, whether it's an animal or like a god, the six cyclic existence, wherever you are, every body, like anyone, as long as it's a living being, they can attain the bodhicitta. And then it doesn't matter. And then being like a fortunate human life, it doesn't matter whether you are a nun or a lay person or a monk or anybody, like father to two kids. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a calm mind with no bias. Without bias, there would be no intention of attachment where like you'll be like, this is my family. You won't be too attached, and then thus you won't have. You would be able to adopt like what needs to be adopted and what needs to be discarded. So you'll be able to practice that better.
와 대지운데 잠만에 다 파유뽕 자세 라린 인세데 파유뽕 그래 세야데 파유라 뭐네 자네게 다차 춘나기 파요 이행거 요텔라 빼데 저 해담 메나 김바 덴데 좀 바딩에 간사지 기 덴데 좀 바사 그 파윤라오지 코유지나라 데딩이지 임바이나 아니 산주게 셈다 자세 산주 셈벨 안에 뭐네 가보 인사레스
Does this refers to for abandoning one's fatherland? It refers to the environment where like there is attachment and too much hatred, everything being in that environment. So it's better to leave that one. If you are surrounded by such an environment, it's really hard to practice.
Thank you. I think Bernie tried to say something earlier, and Zara put her hand up, so I want to come back to Zara. But Bernie, did you want to say something before?
Well, just my experience, a little bit of experience with Tibetan and other languages. Fatherland is a pretty direct translation of the Tibetan word Payul. Pa is father and Yul is land. And I don't know the original Tibetan, but I assume that's how they translated that. And also, when I translate Spanish, when I come across the word patria, I always translate that as fatherland, you know. So I mean, it seems to be common in a lot of languages to refer to a country more as the fatherland than the motherland. Perhaps that's some kind of male dominance of society, which has certainly been very common through history. So it's kind of curious. You don't, motherland, of course, makes equal sense, but you find fatherland more often in the literature. The other thing I wanted to say is just when I read this verse, I'm reminded of the story, the autobiography of Edward Kanza, who translated Buddhist scriptures into English, the Perfection of Wisdom scriptures. And he had to flee from Germany when he was a young man, when Hitler took over. And he ran into a lot of prejudice in Great Britain because he spoke with a German accent. And of course, people were not happy to associate with the Germans after World War II, even though he was on the opposite side of politics from Hitler. And he said, he talked about the prejudice that he ran into being German. And he says, well, it's like carrying the desert inside of me. You know, I didn't have to go into the desert, he said, because I carried the desert along with me inside of me, just being rejected by all the people, the prejudice he ran into in Great Britain. That's all I
Thank
have
you.
to say.
Thank you. Yangshin, can you translate that? And then we'll come to Zara.
당한 주지당 전에 가래 파유라디 갑도 거라치 규샤교도도스 얘기 하고야가지 표유치당 전에 팔라디 갑도 전에 아발린 fatherland 쿠라 아니 유랜 랜드랜 탄다 디나로라 치디파 갑도 거라 규샤샤 직시나 말아서 파유라니 된디아도 라니 마유라니 마된디 말아서 다 지소닝바도 라오라 간다 만다다 지소딩예마니 마 게브리 규도란 간다 포기 심샤교도 인두삼바니 직시나 된데킹게 인시레스 아니 셴바다 덴데 탄다 디콜 셰디드 잠방아 수텐슬나 좀바보 ngazu kigu wala ora nangchu ga jande chu ande gyurdinye ga je michi ga je khorang ki logyu de tensons medicine ya Edward risha ani khong ga je logyu de tenson khong khande rilana nyama khara zamling ga ji maksingi wa di chungyu de zamba khora yin Germany miche 아니 다 수소 디네 롱바 디네 트레니 도다 파조 인유라 두로 아니 인유라 두두 잠바 아니 단도 카레 미리까지 인지 디게 베슈크 첨부 디 중요여스 가치는 코랄라 저머니까지 다당슈 첨부 지여라 저먼아지 다당슈 첨부 디 유디 잠바 아니 원디치니 간다만다 당하랑 지소닝 베타와스 라오라다 간다 인지 체지 여라 거다 모단 라도 언더도 티난 신까지 예말 다 지소를 도당지 겨라 텐데 겐겐이 콩기 가리 닝제 무직 숨여라나 nga chethanglia che dunyumela to khema sungla sha nga ngarang ki khare semba nanglo le ya chethang ji gyes khasila na da chi cho mi du gi ngala di nangmi tang dang do lawra ta kisi la ga do ji do ne o ta khare di mi di la german na ji da dang le chik du do la ya khora yin yu le chane chi ga tende yen je di king and you want to this tensions.
Thank you, Bunny. Very, very sharing your good thought and your other scholars' thought. Thank you. 제자 대 야부시오도 샤마인지 다디 갈라고래. 제자 안서 파유다 마유세야디 간다만다 수수 칭딜라고 왔다. 파유라나 데그레 마유라나 데그레 안서 인지토니나 마더랜드 와지라고 하시. 안서 페파이냐 파유라디 따게와. 다디 라탄다 지론레스 lumba 소소소소 게 별로 인테는 ngoma 또 와이네 야 아바드 휴체도 아바드 자체wan다고 지다 원체wan다 정도 같은데 진이다 해나
Mhm.
안다
Yep.
친구라고 왔다.
Thank you for sharing that aspiring story. And yeah, I believe in English there is a term like where we use motherland, right? As well, like sometimes when we refer. So basically, this is just a terminology where like fatherland was being used on this one. And in our Tibetan language also, maybe it's because it was like a male dominant country with kings and all these things in our history. So maybe that's the reason why the term like fatherland was being used. Yep, thank you.
제가 brother lens ki tangi tuwa de songra nga tanda samsang la karasang yesena ngancho ke tus jene shanchu ke sen gongor larwa shanchu ke sen gonde chambane mahe tindren tizun yewa chamba nije chamba hasan nanda se chambane yune menga dung kan ma soso ke shanchu ke sen gongor lare chama soso ama nangi tagore laware ama nangi ana amitsewa nangi chu samje ama kadin chimbo imba sama nangi tende chama chu sangore se lagware de ina ya mi rezon cha ga pa na ama kadin chimbo main jo se gore ama soso ga dra indi ge tende ya chu na mi yores tende indi soso la kadin chekhu kar imba na mang chewala ama de kadin chewa imba songza ane tosine ama songyan jo na wo chogu yos dandan do din he ba na soso la kadin chekhu kar imba na ama kadin chembo maing etala ashang kadin chembo ina ashang tela gom chene song chogo yorela te maing ba che acha ina re abba ina re o akhu ina re su kadin cheshe din da senje sama tenda wata chene na pashan ju sen gong chong chi bares.
Mhm. And also, when we focus on practicing of the bodhicitta, there is the seventh practice, right, where we state like consider everybody as has been your mother, and then like see everyone as your mother, like how it focuses on the mom thing, like when we try to attend the bodhicitta, like how this when you try to practice, how this was being focused, like everything being considered as mother, like that way. And there there are also cases where like few mother, like they tend to abandon their child when they were a kid, like they are also bad moms, right? It not necessarily refer like all the mothers are good and caring. So which is why for those person, like if your mom wasn't a great one, maybe your dad or your sister or one of your cousin or whoever is that great one, you can start practicing the bodhicitta in that way, like consider everyone is being grateful to you just like your sister, like how caring they are. So maybe in that way you would be able to like practice it in a better way. So just like that, over here, like when we focus on the bodhicitta, it's all about mother, right? But just like that, it's just a term after all. Mhm.
tere ta chetan tandange tandang arang so nyenji sholan do cha chota yo dai shola hedam metam bar slarwa ti tsi gema tela lando jepe tumu mina chen slarwa ti inde chaman ti khatu tela zo de karsang gorasana nyomu tusumge migla nöse kar tangyo koyula nöse kaje tangyo ane chichola nöse kaje se tangyo tende inde zaman te khatu tela zo tela nyumu tusum chenge ke jota chen khande chi ba thina te te solo zabza che gore se la de ta tanda do tere de has.
Mhm. And then the attachment to your family and friends, and then the hate towards your enemy, and all these in the darkness of confusion, you tend to forget like what needs to be adopted or abandoned, right? So in the darkness of confusion, this really speaks like how the negative emotions like attachment, anger, and all these leads to us like where we forget like which is important and which is not. So that's why it is really important to not being confused in the darkness, so that you won't go after that attachment which will cause some action, right? So it's better to like be away from the roots, the cause and of all these emotions.
Ngo te lo si do din hina ngso 자세 산주 셈베게 랑랑 롱이지 임바이나 녀무 두송게 수소로 츠 매나기 진에 츠웅에 존다 우치다 수소 나코나로 유게 존다 관계 문통에 존다 근데다 질 파유 유 유게메 존다 근데게 다 코유단 근데게 근데레레소나 근데단 대와 용이 근데랑 파틴 롱이 게 젠로버지 투소나 다 대소도 타르인스 제세야 존다 딜라고요 레스 근데 임바손자 대소소 갑다 뒤게 힌주지게 지긴로야 레스.
And then in order to practice the practice like the bodhisattvas, the negative emotions really needs to be abandoned, and then we should also stay away or avoid those emotions or those actions which might lead to these negative ones, like which will the darkness of confusion basically. So we should stay away from there.
Can I interrupt to ask Zora? She had a question and a statement she'd like to make. So would this be a good time now?
Yeah. Zara lal ji xue yu sa.
Please come, Zara.
You're muted.
Thank you. So I'm reading this. These are the 3 root causes of the psycho-afflictive motions. And understanding this, I thought first when I read it, I was supposed to go live in a cave to leave everybody. Because then I don't have any problems. I'll just deal with myself. So in understanding karma, cause and effect, and how this reads, so the idea is in abandoning one's fatherland, so to get away from the 3 root causes, the anger, the attachment, and the ignorance that cause non-virtue action, non-virtuous actions, which lead to generation of more negative karma. Is the idea for this abandoning one's fatherland, is that meant to, I know you have to think about it in your mind, but around, like you're saying, avoid like negative situations that will bring these habits, these negative habits we have that then lead to the negative emotions and like the negative behaviors we do with others that generates more. So I think I'm trying to understand, what does this look like in the West? Because we have to, every day someone's saying something negative to me, right? The work I do, like, or I'm in traffic, someone's flicking me off or something. So I'm trying to understand, how does this for us in the West translate? Because there's so much, it's very heavy. There's a heavy dark karma sometimes constantly. So abandoning the situation is not possible. And then still, if he has any ideas about like practical suggestions, that's the question, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Dilas kare ta thanda nganzu gi ta zo kare di dukja sum ro la ora khong ro shedang ti mo de kha sum re. On di sum di ma sha kha tu sum di kare ma myo se ani kare gyuda de buda len ta ka ma khelen ya ro ta tendi ro ras. Kachina ta tende gi gyune ni nganzu la di chi dos mige wa ga ji chawa pe ya ro che ni tende ni rangsing gi ta gan
Nyomu dusung de yona magewa shawa peya. Magewa nyomu dusung de pakatuna ane magewa shawa dupik shawa ngotuya.
원 타란도 계절ista 도도 가리 계절 티엔한다 만주 탄다다 수수기 파유샤 라도 지 계절 리더 그래 파유샤 라디리드 잠당 만주 그래 디 눕초 바래 그래 눕초까지 미치 인도 잠바 샤르초레 눕초레 간다만데 지가 인지가지 딜라 디 인도 아니 눕초까지 인도 잠바니 수수기 니마르레까지 내가 체디레 아니 잠잠 쇼기 모터당 도디 잠바니 피게 로마무 바르디앗 안텐디 지겨라 수수카니에 겸 미디 콘도돌라 안드로치 다 탄다 원도 용도 잠바다 수수기 파이드 뽕라디 잠바다 딘데로 네수 디네 pat khore yungni gyula woras ta ne shembaji lo pe jwa ta ta khandlo ta dinde yung khore si mara ta kale hakbuda nangmi ta khandlo ta chigye didu samba ni da gislang ni kandila ta dende thole ya pa chik onjo la ni ke tablang logic sung lo chas this
그지
ni la ya su su la len ta yu gyo ro chi ya
그지 그지 thank you Zara your question pe mesi apa tangadi chechangaki lenji jam dewa de thobati ke ser tansons kadin ches
Thank you for your question. Your question has highlighted me more on an answer like that I want to give. So you had created a really great way for me to explain it in a better way. Thank you.
chechang anso ke karasongorasana payu pong seri tsamani sosok pinja yu pama yu nami yu chingsa yu chachang yu shos tenen ro shos yan raw ji sacha tongba chilun ro shos yan raw de gowa de lenju mepe ke ta de karasana nganso ke soso nami tsa chenpo yinba tsa ma che tsangma tsa chenpo tsutsi de nge ke ta nganso shanchu ke sem singe de ke 초라 용의 차상게 랑그 초와라 빼len지네 yin chowa yungi chachang tsu tsa chenpo tsi dingege loji shangro chigiyo res. Tende indi tsambane yuk seya di tendel goju mewa di tagaranga sebo tingiyo res.
What we are referring here, like abandon your, like leave behind one's fatherland, that one, it we can clearly say that this one does not refer to like you are gonna leave your like everything and then go to like empty land. It does not refer to this one. This focus more on like considering everybody more important, like how we are attached to our family. Just like that, in our day-to-day life, even if it's a stranger, just consider them like being important, like how you consider your family is. So it's more important to consider everyone in the circumstances where like you like just the way like how you will feel if it's one of your family, like how would you help someone if that's part of your family, something like that.
Chetan tende cheunde tsambane mansu ngwene chwa yuena mena di kari yinsina zambuli inti nanglo la me tsangma la mugwaya di dunge resi ina ya manchu jab chini dunge katsoy chi sigudu di manchu di kanda chini yungu yo resi ya chwa chigirwa manchu jaya ke cheto mil gwaya di tsaso chobya ke cheto la menkana pa duri jab chini ruwa chini ngun roso mangbo hiyo chi tangni dus chini rugu yo resi ngaranso ina ya zambuli inti nanglo la pedi miki tseso la pedi name tangji menda jab diu yu bang yu chene kanju mayung sere tseya tiyan kawa ni legi yo res. Ane ten nanshi ke ngaranzo menkhaan te sop jabsa ke ne tang luki dunga sesa ke ne chire te menkhaan kashi nalo la ne su kandres lagadus. Tiga nanshi ke ngaranzo ke Zambulin ke mi se jorwa saya ta tungya ta koya te su ri te su sama te mile su khogyo ke chala dichi ke chala dichi tunge ke chala chi re te yang döngang ko wol pha juk che ne khala juma soya saya juma soya tungya juma soya ane chi thana cha sha bai na mingo ko tongya ke men zamin tan kanju ma ju zoe che ne tende zoya de sama de kawa yung dos te kawa yungudu seunde tsambane tangone tane tange soya de rang nyeng sholan de cha chota yo dai shola hedam metambar langdo jebi tumu menachi se de ngone tane lamja to toja kari ha magongi tumu dige drip chene yeraji che ne gasa dige shog che to tam magasa dige che to la pa ne che tang gasa dige che to la su ane 샤와지 루카 제운데 잠바네 아니 타미 타줘텔라 수수이나 덥시 제디고야 근데기 내탄지 가나 샤와지 가나 로로치고 레스 가나서
With that being practiced, we all know that everybody in this world wants happiness, right? Yet, there are like times, even right now, like where wars are happening, and then people suffer. Still, like people go to hospital for healing. Yet there are people like who are super ignorant and like how the hospitals were meant for saving lives are not what it is. Like there are cases where like hospitals are like treating patients not nice and all these things. And then also the food that we eat, the clothes we like wear and everything are certain, like we can be sure like when we eat like our dinner, we get a little happiness out of these. But if we go under the greed or with the attachment and all these negative emotions, then this will turn like how processed foods are being in the market, and then how like there are certain like snacks where these are like not the real ones but made with product of plastics and stuff. Like all these things, like all these actions are after all because the certain being or the individual who is acting is in that darkness of confusion because of all these negative emotions that covered him. And then in that confusion, he does not like understand, or he forget what needs to be adopted and what needs to be abandoned so that the better practice will happen. Yeah.
nga tikhuya tanda pel nga pension ti kar khugor sana pel cha sha ban su su member cha chen da ji yin be wang do tang ba ina su su member cha chen ji yin ba ji su su le nam charo ro ji yo ba ina nam charo ro nyang do chowa ji bo ji je de yo na 다 소소 멤버 임바지 파쇼 메상지게 아바데 푸는 히드로제네 멘카나나 두스 하데 카도데발라 다 수송원에 자네 남이 차로로 초와난 주바나시 백인 남이 차로로 차로로 마임바 카테로 지거어와 강에 첨보지날 혼로 지거어와 대인데 자만 소소 멤버지 인수는 원에 자네 백의 그 초와나라 판 주제네 백의 그 동에데 소소 하고아 제네 수술 등엔 던데지 레바이나 가르치 그래 강에 가제 주지요래 던데지 삼비게 토네 어느 파교될 원에 자네 소 째야게 체도라 파간 자다다 간 유유 제보 마도지게 수술라차데다 던데지 불로 산노 땅제네 던데지 제대로 마임바노 구구도스 따뜻소 유야된 간소 다샤당 셰당디 용디 그래서 간주 수민게 레데데
Mhm. And then another thing to add, for example, if I am a great physician with a happy and then a very warm family, if my neighbor's dad, like their father, my neighbor's father is suffering, and then we know like they are having a big trouble when one of the family gets sick, right? And then if me being that great physician, I should be able to empathize them like with their loss, and then feel them, and then treat the diseased father with more care instead of thinking like the after hours, like my salary, I'm putting like this, that, like all such things. Rather than that, we should be able to empathize, thinking if it's like one of your family, how would you act, like that way. Mhm.
닌 전다 님보디 가르치고서나 ngaranzo gwene chane chowa yunge changma jiyorwa chowa yunge changma de chik chowa nala pan zuri tse chene ana pasho ko chowa de ha gobi ko tone ana gwene chane tendechi chege na ana chik lo ne che se anda boda chik la karse dunde taya da maswe taya sonda boda zime taya sonda da chik ngaranzo chik ko cha chong se anda boda so halang go thusare samsanda jiyores.
Mhm. And what I would like to convey the message is like we all should be able to empathize more, and then being able to stand in the other person's shoe, and then hopefully with those actions, then there would be no harm like in our surrounding and everywhere. Like with these empathizing and sympathizing actions, I believe like stealing others' things, and then like burglary and all such things, like those bad actions would be stopped. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. When Geshe-la is ready, he can tell us so we can go into the next topic, the next verse, but not to rush him. If he has more to say about the present one, that's fine.
Mhm.
I have a question actually, Lance. Is this an
Yes,
okay?
please, Matt. Yes.
So one thing that's hard for me about this passage is I was raised with like a really core value being of loyalty, where it's like you remain loyal to your family member, your friend, Like no matter what, you stick with them, and that's like you don't turn on them, you don't abandon them, or you're something like that, which has this kind of preference for that person built into it, I guess, you know? Um, so that's one thing that's tough. And then I guess I feel like that life does require us to show preference for some people over others. Maybe in our heart, we don't disparage others or wish harm or try to help others as much as we can. But I do think a parent should be prioritizing trying to help their child versus any random person that's walking down the street or something like that. You know, if there's not enough to go around and there's a lot of people who don't have much to eat or something, I feel like the parents should be prioritizing how do I help my kid.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that seems right. That seems ethical, and it also, I think it's good for the child to know there's somebody who views me as special, who is looking out for me when I can't, and like that's kind of like the role of the parent. So I guess is it with the teachings, is it not okay to have certain preferences like this? Like I have a preference for helping my mother over someone else. I wouldn't do anything bad to someone else, but like if I have $1 to spend and there's two people starving, I'm probably am going to give it to my mother or something. I don't know, something like that.
Dilas kare ta ngala khari kale hakbu dulana tanda ngarang chu le tong gore dola dia do chi li do tikal pesha chana nga khandi do in ya salung chungdang di khora ta susu nangmi ping ping ya le yetsi gore la dia do sha khonzu che dula susu le tong che gore len tende do chi chini ta kanda manda salung chung is khuyo andi do chi la 아니 이나양 알아서다 지소 나오는 뜬그다 빼셔잖아 소소부 네바차 폐기들 미션바지 네바차 뒤지가 냠도 차들 뭐 랑싱이 소소부를 로고 체가지 들 슈체로 줘야도다 원 나로량 꿀롱지에 요마다 이어지에도다 덴데지 요마리 이나양 소소부를 로고 체디 디교도다 덴데 통고다 파마리 부글 따고래 아니 부응외니 소소 파마리 소소 파마를 출 로텐사도다 덴데로 차디도 잠바 띵 원이 디교로 제게도 아니 탄다 카라 미션라 카라 안드 진라 도 딘디 따티 체라디 라울린 따라랑 칼레 하고에서 안 톤도 카라 베샤사나 키시 미니 라강이 로테디 아니 소소 아마다 미션 바로징이네다 랑싱기 아말 소소 아질 따라바 체도라 야셔라 간다만다 직 따디나로 옌젤 로라니 직 담카 로지기요나 아니 소소 아스틸 슈크처 도도야 로직다 더 원딜 컨디스트레스 직 송다스
Thank you, Matthew. Chetan tangan so wone lo jang dang samno di tagarang res. Chetan tuje shirage che tanda di yor ngan so. Chetan nganzo mi phebar wa nganzo mi phebare zambulin di kala tambo yung di zambane nganzo chik kanjing go mo sing de chi ke ngoshinge chi ngoshin ba zang re ma to shin ka ke chi machine de da ma thön le ro ro ne sing mare kar gu ge le ne sing mare tende ma thön le ro tende ma thön ka so la dabo jeng de so re na nganzo ki chin nganzo ki nami nganzo ki phama ane tela roba chinge nganso ko jojo ane chi sia de ta ngarang so mil ran shi de yo de res.
This is really like a realistic thought of a practitioner, and thank you. As a human being, we all were born with no understanding at all. Like just being born with, we just know like when we were born, we just know how to cry. We do not know how to walk. So our family, the parents who took care of us, the uncle, the sister, the brother who is showering us with love and care, all these things, like we do have that preference.
Ta tinde indu chambane suso ke chingsang se ro ta suso ke chala se so ro ta suso ke nami nyende se de ta tambo ne suso ko khoyu ta thutang ke tenjin de wan jung ke wang ke suso ke ji ngwen ke le dan cha ke jen da tinde ke wang ke ti zhu yin ba song zang ji 딜 담보 야보 제고야 지다 딜 담보 소속의 젠도 여바 지다 시 젠도 여바는 시 제나지 층다 루당 최다 가리나 참마다 튠데와데 세보 세장 레스 ngaranzo chusho nanglo la ama an tambo tsigure se de te junsen de ama de suso chunchung kala khopa nang la ki te ne je be ka so la chi suso jukshin se ba do la chi phama ge dus je shan yin ba song da junsen ta garang res.
With them, our family, our home. This is all because when we have our family, these are all because of the causes of previous life where we all meet in this life. It's not like yeah. So, anyways, being more affectionate or being more caring towards your family, your child, these are all ethical and sounds right as well. But even in the what is that thing? Buddha scriptures. There are also points where they states like mother should be considered as important because of her. Like this is all we should consider her important because of the actions she has done, like how we were being taken care for 9 months, like in the womb and all these things, being grateful towards her, and then the sacrifices sometimes like certain mothers make, like all these things, being grateful towards those actions. That's why she like how mothers are being considered important.
Tende yin ba song da nge ge sam so la me singe to suso la chete che go la suso name le chete che go la ana tiga na shi suso phayu le chete che go la tiga na shi ke suso ke lumba suso ke jekhap te so la shashin yo go res.
This is why I believe that we should love ourselves, like, and then our family, our homeland. We should be loyal to like our own country and everything.
Tende yin ba song za ta nganzo ki tanda tanda nimbo de kar hyong go na pen na charang tanda song ba nang gi chene nge ga ama chi ta ama yanda ji ni chuna khin ru hyo na nge ge tambo chab ji sama nge ama de chab nge ama chab gu re la a kar se ru jab ji chung ji nge ama ge che du nga chuna la chung gu re la ama tambo che ya ge ta khi che gre de thum da lu da kar na sam ma thun de re thun de ba ji cha de re ma to chi ge shenda de la shuri chen jo de cha ga ma res.
Right now, what we are focusing is, for example, if your mother and another mom, like two ladies, are fallen in the river, you would obviously do your best to save her, right? Your mom. So this is ethical, this is right, and even in the religion, it won't be considered as bias.
Tang nganzo ke che zang shuri ma che se ya de kar song go se na ngaran so ke suso ama chuna san ru hyana suso ama di ke chal me yenda ga ama chuna la yu jin suso ama kya ba ina ta ting wen ta ne churi du hyu de cha go sang go dos.
And then the do not bias or the differentiating over here in these scriptures or text refer as like in order to save your mom, like pushing another mother like into the river or doing bad deeds to another one. That's what they are telling, like you are choosing her over this one, right? Like that way.
Nganzo shanchu semba ina ya ama ni chuna la sa ge na suso ama ji ma to cha thu go me na suso ama cha go ting khe gres ina ya shanchu semba ji ke suso ama khema ro ji thola ro ge na suso khema ama la khema te raya ge che to bede phakho ama ge la ngui ro ten go ko ro tang chin chen wan ro che chin de khema de chulya ge thapsi de chaw ni chi ma res.
Even if it's a great Bodhisattva or certain being who had attained bodhicitta, they would also, even if they are in that same situation, they would choose to save their mothers. And but they wouldn't do this. For example, if your mom is suffering with like kidney failure and then needs to get a kidney in order to transfer, then there wouldn't be those things like giving the daughter more money so that the kidney would go to your mom, like those things. No bias.
ndo dini khena nganso ke cheza shuri maje se ya jorwa shuri maje se ya tela ko dodo de lengo na khar lengo do sena soso ge deji soso ge reji ge deji ge che to shen ge deji la zime doru ta ya jorwa wa tatte maje se yore se la tha.
Basically, the no differentiating among like certain individuals or biasing, it all refers to for the sake of happiness of your like family or your mom, you are ruining or doing a bad action to the other stranger or to the other mother. So that's what they meant.
딘데다 오지 here instead. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kunga would like to say something.
Yes. So I was this section remind me of the first line from the Xin Xin Ming. The Great Way is not difficult for those not attached to preferences. Separate by the smallest amount, and you are as far from it as heaven is from earth. So that's that part of the Xin Xin Ming is very similar. And this when Matthew was talking about, love of your family, a patient had shared with me that her father, who is our hospice patient, they lived near the dump, and homeless men would sometimes wander into their house in the middle of the night because they didn't have any place to stay, and he would tell them to go ahead and they could sleep on his couch, and in the morning he would feed them breakfast. And that's what the daughters learned from their father, was how to be generous and kind from those actions. He basically treated these homeless men that walked into the house just like one of the family. And then the other thing I was thinking about was I feel like I can't remember exactly where it comes from, but there's this idea that, if we only love those who love us and hate those who hate us, then we're really, what's the point of our spiritual practice? Our spiritual practice is to help us grow in a way so that, we can still love those who hate us. And, we don't only have to love people because they love us back, Thank you.
Kunga, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And that's a beautiful passage. I've heard that too. It's about the preferences. What about for like, and I'm on board with everything you're saying. I think, what about like for your own children? Like, would you not have a preference? Not in Geshe, in the spirit of what Geshe. Oh, was I supposed to let her translate actually, Lance?
No, it's quite all right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yangshin, you on top of this?
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I forgot. But what the heck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so like do you feel like it would be, I don't want to say right has a connotation, I don't mean, but like to have a preference for your children, not like I guess I say not in the sense of like harming other people to help your children, but that there'd be some kind of there's something special within your life that's different than other person than me or someone else. Does that make sense at all, what I'm trying to say?
I think that's just an illusion. I mean, I know those people better, so then I'm more involved and more caring for what happens to them. But I think if I didn't consider the people strangers, if I could just realize that someone else loves them just as much as I love my own children, then I can somewhere understand how other people would, how I can be more equanimous with my feelings, right? Like if I can see someone else, I can see my daughter and I see someone else's daughter, and I can realize that daughter is loved by her parent just as much as my daughter is, then in that way I can sort of share that same sense of caring and wish for them to do well that I have for my own daughter. I think that's for me, that's the way I think of that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks. And I guess this is the last thing, yeah, I promise. I guess and that all is beautiful and also makes a lot of sense. I guess in the sense of, how like in India, they talk about like people having like they're not like the capital D Buddha Dharma, but like their Dharma. It's like they're kind of like almost like your karma. Like this is your role in the role you're playing in this life, something like that. And I guess for me, how I would think about it would be in line with what you're saying, but like of my role in this life is for these people to have this special place for me. I have a special responsibility to these people. I have a special my, kind of my dharma in this life is to live this type of life, to have this kind of profession, maybe whatever, to have these, for these people to have, in this, if there is multiple lives, that for these people this time around to have this special significance, to be something like that. I don't know. That's it though, I promise.
Dangshin, can you translate that, please?
Dilas kara ngaranzo thambo kunga nimagi khar sungslana di khogi ani gishlai dinde do sung de zambani yema ande shemba do ten sungs ani thanda kara nangmila jede che dang ande do di kapdila ani yema michi yores khora neba do che ani khorans nang di peje dis ki lusa da dende ye ndol cha di de zambani nang minye de midi zo le nang le ani nang la shu nang le ande do chi di zambani pala di girang shingi ta nang la shu nge ga ji sofa di zo nya ani la an san shu ge mi nang me gyo di ge de la shokja ro te ani ande chin khonsu lo dang gyo sara pala di ga ji charju di ge kangza kurang ji pu di zo thong de zambani won di ne kurang su gi ta khare chamning ji la ro dang che semba sang bo che di ge ro jang do 원도 시 아니 디 마인 바톤도 셴바 아니 콩기 카르 체인슬라나 안디로지 요레스 키시 카라디 카와니 이미디 제샤 소소라 가니 디게 딜랑가 소소 콘들 산예 디게 딜랑 콘도로사 아니 마람수기 남베 체도라오라 타칸다만다 디 체도 딜라니 초카르 둘라샤 카셀나 원디 체가 지미 디칼나 마가니 디게 딜레 파가야 도단치야 수수기 다디 년진 투야도 라오라 텐데도르니야 간다 텐데지 코뉴스 원디 콜라스타 아니 디젤 카레 마튜기 티와 디게 디카르나 아니 다 ngaransuta 파마기 부체들라야 부셴바 미셴바 네마키네야 지겨라 컨트롤 타 간다야 수수부디 자침부로 진쇼드야도 티식레디도 아도 다 원딜라 컨트롤 삼수돌라데 니 공간이 말라이 하순슬라나 안드로 삼스 콘수냠돌라야 타 팻 코라디 튠투엘라 컨트롤 삼골나 베셔선 파주 포모도지네 ande samthuna yak boris ta dipu dile nga ngarangi pula Kagyu na shi nga ngarangi phomol chewa yugyo na shi ti phomo dile phama ji ge ende melam kya de ra do samna an rang shingi susu enje khara pu dila melam do kya pu dile cha lam do da ji ande ro le du dile sha ondo cheidus ani shembaji khalasla Matthew ki gyagalia khandi me haumas ya tadub ande do jik dus khara 다 미치디 라 타케라기 마스나 카리치 돌아 쇼라 베시스당아 미치딜레 당아 디직치 돌아 지요라 미치디가 진닝 부터 슬라오라 덴도 렌직 숭아도 스투스 아니 다 단다 만수아지 미치딜라 땡닝 보돌라나 아니 칸데돌라니 카르라 시도 샤오르다 카 단다 나운슈로 장디 상기기 코방 타베돌은 텐데 케마로 아타간다 지겨 아니 원돌라니다 칸데도 징고레돌라니 엔드로송스
안조 던요 바 간데 지긴 인세야로다 그러와 밀루 던다 덴바데 간데 지긴 인세야데 대송도와 에레테레 투지체 단다디 제가 군가님하고 렌데 간데진도세나 문에 단에 소소 초나는 준이 송고도와 문에 단에 티 구거나 초나는 주고 파 랑기 kadute hako yen kadute hako rang kadu mundenge na shi shen kadu mundenge imbate hako bi thone anachik susola de phoba kansa na ti phasho de chega gogunduna gothungi na buchi cha yunde ne ngone tane susola ina sendi kibo hiwara la phakhola ina pen hiwo thotu go resta de yabudu pemse
Geshe said the answer which Kunganima told Matthew regarding the preferences thing, how you would be able to connect with them more if you think of them like how they would be also having a parents like who is thinking just like you. So same way, just like how we all want happiness, if we start sharing it with others, like how if Geshe he has like a ball of rice and then there is another stranger who doesn't have any, if we share that half ball of rice, it's helping the other, but then it's also making him more content and happy as well with his action, right? Yeah, just like that.
nga samsana samnutra tayung zamane zamling kana manchu da mage da chik nyam phatang chunang da degi neso ge tu unde zamane kange chik the unde zamane nge samsana sanu kar ko de sena kesin zambli chasan susolo wan chine susun zambli di chibo zambli di kana susu chibo haga yona ta kar chegure sangsana thya jorwa oti chona de yangse yung yos.
Mhm. Sometimes when I think about the war and then the ongoing crisis, like here and there, like how people fight for small things and all the things, um, then if we imagine like if the political leaders they are fighting to be the like to be the one who owns like who rules everything, right? What if like you are being there all alone on this earth? Then what would you do?
제가 근데 제문데 감소 미 감소 원래 전에 그 가자 구도 그 개체쉐데 가르 두서나 소소나기 그 초아 영의 그 메다 지 가본 예뻐 줘야단 라냠 제야다 지 파초 언데 지네 고향 그 토네 지 강요바데 파초 쉐링 제야다 아니 지 제와 지네 파초 히델 힌자 돼야 지휴렌도 마토 지게 아니 대민비 그 나랑서 네그 조 코그 조 네그 lumba 코그 lumba 세네 근데 럽 제네 아니 파 세레 tu deya ta ane tende sano tan deya ti cheba yin te na ane zambali dodo soso lo wang jine soso kechang hana chok kare yore samsan rawa tende ta sowa ti tende yandu res.
Just like that, what we need to do is interact with each other, connect, share, and then love, and then live in this earth like peacefully by not considering like stating this is my land, my country, this, that, and then just imagine like if you are all alone in this earth, then what would you do?
Cheta 참상 nge sano taang de nge ke jakata nge ke jota nge chi ta ni ne se ate so jel rimbi malen jore mato zambule tambo tudi zamane ngara so sama la thumo lo wan de jon zambule ji tubare mato chi ke nge ke jakata che ke jakata nge ke lumba ta khwe lumba se no te so jel patne rimbi chen mi ke semba ge jore mato tambo de yore sang mendus.
Mhm. So sometimes when I think about how people refer like my country and all these things, when Earth was first formed with the Big Bang theory, it was just like with 7 continents. There is no country, right? All these like my country, all these things came after with the greed and all those things.
뭐야 제가 근데 수업이 jenchene ane pelchagano junolo hiwagadige meto soge rupando ta andenda yama thakhi chene chi karse gore ta chi lungda karwen thingda thumba karen thingda manthumba ande chene juno sosol pung je de chambane ngena 참상라네 가르상고도서는 축부 hiwrese de to koran so re sagena na nganso da chipare phoba kangre chutunguena mo kangre te to chipare nyesa jena na nganso da na hi ge dense chechun chipa jire ma to kolon zambling khang de jo dense je de ne ke amare hewo ji ge jole ji karse gore cheta demba chele geba de phangam je de ba ina 소소 죽게 체도 무세 코로나 뒤세 제대 저러 때때 가르나지 체도 인현은 게 하고 뭐도.
And then people with greed tend to go after the treasures. And then, for example, those rich people, they are also eating the same rice which we eat, and then drinks the same water. So everything is kind of same. But when I see them going after the greed, I don't know like what they are fighting for or what they are going forward for.
뭐야. 제가 근데 인데 잠만에 간소게 잠블링 가나 똑시 따야다. 잠블리 코유 쪼빠 줘야다. 잠블링라 대지 매바 줘야다. 아니 남이 이나래 tumba 친지 이나래 대지 매바 줘딩에도 서래도 따디도 잠바니 아니 튼다 루다 멘팀비 토니 쇼리 셰딩에다 아니 소소치 뭐야 야제탄 되딩에 또 레드 인데 바탕 간소 세보 통도 왔어.
Which is why on Earth, the destructions that are being caused, the unhappiness, the wars, all these are led by those people who are self-centered.
제가 근데 이운데 다 되게 싸워나 보다 소리도 근데 야따운데 는 더차대다 아니 년라 추쇼딩은 더차지다 더울 파시는 예라 콜 차고야 매 코다 파피 연드기에서 야존나 드레제네 쇼리 체딩은 그 로데 임바데 세버레스타 콘도 디쿠르 주디 거레스
That's why the root cause for these are the attachment towards the family and friends, and then the hate towards your enemy. Because of going after the attachment and the hate, this is leading to this action.
따티가는 잠블링 디상 계자 해당다 버지나 튼티 레세야지다 튼티 마레세야는 되게 계자 해당 만보 인군도데 튼도서 참마대양에 튼만체와디 시당 튼세야데 미상말마 덴자다 지보다 지 권용보 용약의 체도레데 튼 레존 때서데 엔데 파타데데 양세부터는 누스
These days, there are certain laws where we say like this is legal, this is illegal. Anyways, all these laws are created like for the safety and then for the better of the country, right? But then there are certain laws which are like really like unapplicable as well.
다 된다고 생각하는데 대강은 다 맞으려고야나
Yep, that will be all. Should we proceed more, or if you guys have anything to add, please?
Thank you, Geshe-la. And Yangshan, thank you very much for your wonderful translation, and you're taking the time to do this. It's really, really terrific. And each time I think it gets stronger and better. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm also learning a lot. Yeah, you can continue.
Gary, I know you're not feeling well. Are you able to turn your microphone on now? And is there anything that you would like to say? There you are. You turned it on there.
Okay, you hear me?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I'm glad to be back and glad to see everyone that's here tonight. It's been a long time, and I plan on being back fairly regularly from now on. So what I get from a lot of this is, if anything, life is about choices every day, every hour of every day, every waking hour of every day, where we are around people who present us with choices. People inevitably present us with choices, and likewise we present other people with choices through our behaviors, which we choose to do, sometimes mindlessly and sometimes mindfully. So life is about the choices we make and also how we react to the choices that other people make, and how we react to the karma of life, the things that just happen for reasons that we may not understand. But we choose our reactions, and in so doing, we choose, in a sense, our path. And so that is at least part of what I'm getting from all of this. Because every moment, if not in what someone says to us, if not in what we may witness in life, but in what we're thinking. Because life is giving us, in the world at large, things to react to and things that are not easy to see always. And we could choose to react to them by being understanding, being angry, or being happy. But it's about choices.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, let me translate this to Gishla. Gary gi karsons lena kora gi ha koya do di ta tanda ngarang gi trolling dine kari ha kos lena mitsila di pat tamkarang rishas. Ngarang so kaji ye gangsa le mi pat susol su damkate dingi do kyang kyang ris. Kante do lena mi shembe gi chaju le dine ini susol su damkate di gyo. Zang zang chaju gashi ji pat kulung yu gyo ere gashi kulung meni nangmi thoni res. 아니 ngaran su gi khonsu le ya khare pha chaju dilata pha lein lo tang do ji gyora ta dige di ta kanda man da dige chasang lo ta ka ma gyuni res le gyuni re la sha ani ngaran su ni khari dam kha ge dur no susu gi mi shemba dil ya khare di twen dang nam gyu twen dang do ji gyora di che ni susu lam ga di on den ro tang ha khosus ani khare 미셴바지 기 소소라 라네레 양나 응아랑수기 땅무스 소소라 카라디 미통라 세로디 춤네레 양나 미셴바기 삼노당 초레 카리네 타간다 미슬라디기 응아랑수라 다 리액트 첼레 요안수 남기 되야도 라오라 타간다 만다 텐디로지랑 텐디두스 아니 원디기 케주주 카레르나 응아랑수니 카리 담카기 하고리르나 파주 촐레 삼시 유에 토니니 수수기 파 렌도지 여러 원디 로야체 아니 양나 렌 로야 돼 콘주다 제슬라 토니 콘주까지 토니 넘버치니 도시리 양나 미셴바델 펜심까지 콤니냐 차와상보에 도시리 저는 딱한다 텐데 싱송스
Kadiche. Thank you, Brother Gary. Tarang ta samhye se ya jidwa Gary la soya tam samhye la ta ngone thani nimbo dre ta de. Ngarang zu kenza hiwer missing de susul su samhye de jeon de susu pe gagre phakyo de yor da. Pe gagre o ta samhye tende ya bo jesu tuji che. Thank you. Chera pe ya punto chera semba zambu du segre. Ina phakyo de pha samhye goya ge tse de le undi de de che tu mare. De de kar cher sena ne nyomu de ge te ka de gora ya. ranchi inzin te da nyomu rana chapin de cha ye yawa to wi ki ko lo di ki te di pha che tu wa ma kensa hiwar te lo ma gon
And then Brother Gerila had stated like how we can choose to react with being understanding, right? That's really like that's the main source, or like in order to practice, that's really a very great way. And we like our human nature is also kind of weird, like how when certain someone like how if it's a stranger or whether it's one of your family, when one of them understands you like truly, you really appreciate them, right? You would be super grateful and everything, and you would tell like, oh, you're being so kind, thank you so much for understanding and all those things. But then when it's our time, like just like how we appreciated the understanding that was done to us by like another one, but we can get to know like the importance of understanding, right? But when it's our turn like to act understanding, like to go in that way because of our like self-centered mind, and then with these negative emotions like being unable to like keep yourself lower than others, that's how like the understanding is really hard to practice, like to make it more practical. So thank you for highlighting that point.
yeah
Thank you. If I can, I'd just like to add a couple thoughts that I've had, and that is that, you know, the people here right now, you know, several of us are seniors, and several of us are middle-aged, and you know, we have changes in our lives, and what might not be practical for us to do things now in terms of abandoning one's fatherland, you know, makes it sound like we're going to leave and we're going to go away and so on, and we're going to develop our own practice and develop our own enlightenment and abandoning others and so on. It's a matter of degree. And, you know, we may be able to, as a middle-aged person, we may be able to take a week off and go on a retreat and have an experience like that. And we hold that aspiration to be able to do something even more significant for later on. And maybe as we become seniors and so on, and our responsibilities are fulfilled with our families and so on, we may then make other choices. We then may make, the decision that, yes, I can go and I can spend more time in practice and study or something like that. So it's a matter of what our aspirations are. It's a matter of being practical about how we approach those aspirations and keeping ourselves open to change and so on. And even if we do commit ourselves to a more strict Dharma way of life, that doesn't mean that we still can't interact with our families and our friends and so on, that we're not abandoning them, but we are choosing to spend more of our energy in being able to help them in a more profound way that they may not recognize. And that at this time in our lives, we may not be able to perform that very well, but as we proceed in our career of being a Dharma practitioner, we become more adept at that and allowing ourselves to be open to that and developing that aspiration to achieve that in the end.
렌슬라기 쿠랑기 다 카리로 공수로 카리엘나 다 ngaransu dinanglo chokwa dinanglo yomi mancha gembaire ni loading yore ni ta kan ngaransu changma ta misidia ke to this samba guape mambu tunyu yores kashi yang gua tangyo kashi jikpat langingos mengyo dojya inaya ta kan ngaransu payu sha ni to gore la to diladu samba injimin desha khara ani jik khandela ta sangi kubang thabelia khara November do chilo do and the shadow di la o maris kisi and do chi to ne su around su chi retreat le ya want to la to ani this ngo dan tin do che ani zamzam ya su ya gemba ro cha ani nangmi simya le nangmi le and do chi di zam ya ta chu che shen ban de two series ani kandamanda ta ngarang su gi gualia tadi gores ani 디기 ngaransu khara ani nangchu jangai na inji min newen pal togorelen tente khegu sungo mari nangni shada andi che lawo mares ani ta rimshi tente laglen ta ni ani andi ro china ani ngaransu ta thanda dige su khomba cha ani khomba ni ani ya yarge dolen jiga ta serabni serablu pen tho di res
ta 100% agree with brother Lance. Yeah, tagara payupon Geshe la is tagara tuchena. The chetan the tambu dingan city inji mijugures. Nyanji sholan, the chat chotayo, dai shola, hedam metambar, lando jebi, temu menachins and the city son the sano yapotam bitone, so payula. 그노 대송의 체도 파유기 체도 내가 맞지 그노 대송 키 전에는 파유기 체도 가져봐주 제마들라고 그랬다 너도
Yeah, so basically in our verse 2, the attachment towards your loved one, the mind of attachment to the loved ones, and the mind of hatred, the mind of ignorance, all these three, like in order to focus or in order to do something for your homeland, we should like never go under the attachment, the hatred, and the ignorance. That's what it highlights. So abandoning one's fatherland over here refer to like leave it, like just how Lensla had told. So it refers to like do not act the attachment, the hatred, the ignorance, so that you're focusing on your like fatherland.
도디니 셰바이나 잠불린디 다포 저기 세딩이 차상디게 단다 녜제 쇼란데 차 쳤다요 다이 쇼라 헤담 메담 바르세 치티기 질은 로치네 군호 대속이 질은 로치네 나서 잠불린데 다단다 강이 첨부지다 컨데다 지나 홍로 상상의 텐데 그 지다 년가 더버 첨부다 몸부 통도 왔어.
And then how the global leaders, they would be like, we are protecting the earth for the sake of like our nation. And so it's basically they are going under the mind of attachment over here. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, Geshe-la, again, and Yangshin and everybody for participating. Next week is Memorial Day. So for us, that's a traditional holiday where friends and family get together and so on. So we have not had a break for our Monday night sessions for a very long time. So I'm going to suggest that we take a break next week, enjoy a nice day with our family and friends and so on, and that we'll come back together again in 2 weeks. And at that time, what we've been doing is listening to each one of our motivation as to why it is that we're involved with this group and so on, and how we got here and what it means to us. And so Zara, if I can ask you, do you think that when we come back together again in 2 weeks, that you would be in a position to be able to give your motivation? And what we would do, I know that Zara comes from her work immediately to this to this meeting, and sometimes she comes in a little bit later and so on, and it's unavoidable for her. But what we can do is we can wait and have her talk later in the evening, like at 8:30 or something like that. We can stop whatever our discussion is, and then Zara can give her motivation, and we can talk about that at that time. Would that be okay with you, Zara?
Yes, thank you, Lance. That's very kind of you.
Okay, and then writing it out in advance and sending it so that Yangshin has it, so she can do a better job at being able to translate that for Geshe, is worked out very well. Everybody seems to really like that. So thank you for that suggestion, Zara. All right, so is there any comment about skipping a week next week? Okay. All right, anybody else have any last things you'd like to say before we do our dedication?
I just wanted to say, I just kind of see that leaving the homeland is leaving the fatherland. It's just leaving your self-centered, egoistic perspective. You know, that you're trying to leave that self-centered view on the world and then adopt a more less dualistic view. So that's how I interpret that fatherland. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. So again, we'll be sending out the transcript for this, so you can look at that, and if you have comments about it, we can discuss it next time or whenever. I'm going to recite a dedication prayer, a little bit different than the one we normally do. This is the Kagyu, the Drikung Kagyu lineage prayer. So I'm just going to recite it in the English. It's in the Tibetan, if you can read that. But nevertheless, I'm going to recite the English. Urje Chang, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Pagmajupa, and Lord Drikungpa, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessings of all the Kagyu Lamas. By this virtue, may I achieve omniscience. By defeating all enemies, confusion, may all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri, the warrior, realized the ultimate state, and as did Samantabhadra, I will follow in their path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, May the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate word of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikung Ratna Shri and all the other great masters, who are omniscient, lords of the Dharma, masters of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Sarva Mangalam. May all be auspicious. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all very, very much.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, Gary. We'll see you next time.